Interestingly there, I was trying to think about what the opposite of everything you've said just looks like. What's the opposite of passion in your definition? What's the misalignment look like? So can you give me an example of what the opposite of that definition looks like?
The opposite is, I heard about some guy who pumped a crypto coin and made millions of dollars, so I want to go and find out how to pump crypto coins. Or I heard someone who made money flipping property, so I need to flip property and I'm going to do a course on flipping property. I've got no interest in property. I've never been interested in property. I've never shown any interest in any of these things. I just want to make money, and it's got nothing to do with my background. I've got no little wins in this. I have no real vision for the future other than being rich. So essentially, this is of no value to anyone listening. No one cares. In fact, when people hear that, they're repulsed by it. In most cases, just hearing someone talk about that makes you feel, I definitely don't want to see you for the next 2 years.
Why are they destined to fail?
Because they can't attract a team. Essentially, all of business and life is a team sport, and it's your ability to attract great, talented people around you who want to work with you that is ultimately the reason we succeed, and it's ultimately the reason we feel good. So if you're saying things that repulse people, then talented people leave and talented people don't want to be involved. If you're saying something that feels resonant, that it feels aligned, and it feels like something's happening, it feels like this guy's up to something, or this woman is up to something. She's enrolling people in this vision that she's got, and people love her story. It's destined to succeed because good people are getting involved, and more good people are getting involved.
Do you knowing what's a good opportunity and what's not a good opportunity, do you think that when you're younger, you should be saying yes to more stuff? Because like in the position you're in now, you're bombarded with opportunity. So you have to use a kind of a different mental framework.
No, yeah.
Do you think when people are younger, they should have a different bias towards accepting opportunities or fucking around and finding out?
Yeah, definitely. We should definitely go through that phase. And also be willing to say, oh, that wasn't it. I'm going to stop and go try something else. So you dropped out of university, I dropped out of university. I was so excited to go to university. And then as soon as I realized this is not going where I want to go, I had to make the decision to leave all my friends and walk away from university.
That sort of dark valley you have to walk through of uncertainty when you make the decision to leave the well-worn track of university or a corporate job or the 9-to-5, How does one prepare mentally? Like, what's the mindset of someone that goes, do you know what, I'm going to go through the stinging nettles, through the bushes, and be lost and find my own way?
I always enjoyed all of this, by the way. So my mindset was that I was always quite excited that being lost, I felt, was probably going to be part of the process. I have a simple view around mindset, which is you're either being a reptile, an autopilot, or a visionary. What's
that reptile thing you mentioned? What's the definition of that?
Oh, well, reptile mode is fight, flight, freeze, freak out, throw tantrums, be angry at the people you should not be angry at, feels unfair that the world's against you, all of that.
And the visionary? What's the definition of that?
So the visionary, I don't know if you've had these moments where you feel anything is possible and you feel very expansive. You think in long time frames. So you think in maybe 10, 20 years out. You also might see the world as one small place. So you might your mental model might be that the world is just one little ball that flies around the sun, and there's markets everywhere, and that there are opportunities everywhere, and that there are people trying to get stuff done, and I could have a business that's anywhere. And you feel a sense of love and compassion and optimism, and you typically become more influential in your circles. The other strange thing about the visionary mindset is that they did some research with Indian farmers, and they found that these particular people, they got paid their yearly salary in one lump sum, and then they had to make that last for the whole year. And as they were getting close to the end of that cycle, they had an IQ test which showed that they were 15 points of IQ lower than when they had just been paid the lump sum. So the lump sum allowed them to think long-term. It allowed them to feel affluent and abundant. And their IQ, the scores on the IQ test, went up as a result of feeling good and feeling amazing and feeling affluent. And then by the time the money had run out and they were, not sure whether they're even going to make it to the next one, their emotional intelligence, their actual IQ intelligence had dropped significantly. So one of the things that is a real challenge if you're doing it tough is that you're essentially regularly putting yourself into these situations where your IQ is right down. your emotional intelligence and your IQ suffers as a result of being in reptile mode. I remember a time where I got a parking ticket for $40. And I freaked out. Like, I flipped out. I had a massive fight with my friend, and I was in a place where $40 was seriously an issue. And I remember thinking, I'm just going to eat cereal for weeks to try and get through this. And so full reptile meltdown mode.
What would the visionary have responded to the parking ticket?
Well, the visionary has a different view of life. And the first thing is that if a resource exists on the planet anywhere, that resource is really just a couple of conversations away. So essentially, a visionary would say, well, someone's got $40. I'll just have a talk with them and see what they need, and I'll help them with whatever they need, and they can help me with the $40 that I need. Maybe I need to wash their car. Maybe I need to, help them with their video editing or something. So the visionary is all about the idea that there's really not a lot of boundaries between the resources on the planet, that it's just a gray zone around who owns what and who's got what, and we can just have conversations about that. So visionaries can easily raise money and raise funds because they just think, well, someone's got the money and they want to put it to use, so I'll just give them a plan as to how we're going to put it to use. There's a great story that I love, which is, I think it was the producers of Top Gun were creating these little models of airplanes and boats, and they were trying to figure out how they would do like a Star Wars style Top Gun movie. And someone said, have we actually called the Navy and asked whether we can use their planes and their boats? And everyone's like, no. And it's like, well, they've got planes and boats. Let's see if they want to do it. So they ring up the Navy, as you do, and they speak to the general, and the general says, oh yeah, we want to enroll more people in the Navy, so we would love for you to make a Hollywood blockbuster film. What do you need? And they basically say, well, here, have the jets, have the boats, have the aircraft carriers, whatever you want to do. So it's kind of weird to think that someone woke up this morning with the resource that you want, and if you have a conversation about how that resource gets used, right, essentially you are now it's as good as you having the resource. Someone woke up with an aircraft carrier. If you've got a good use for that aircraft carrier, why not have a conversation about how that aircraft carrier gets used today?
It's shocking because it's so simple. But it's so resonant with me. There's two examples I'll give. The first I've talked about many times was when I was 16, 17, in sixth form, saw Carly Stokes sat in front of me, who was a girl in my school. I think she was head girl, but she was picking the vending machines we were going to get in the school. And in my brain, I thought, we have 2,000 paying customers here. Surely there's a vending machine company that would love to put these machines for free and give us a cut. Went to the computer room, sent 5 emails based on Google search rankings. By the same day, and Mr. Sprinkle, who was our head of Key Stage 5, has confirmed this on live TV, someone showed up with a tape measure to fit the machines because one of my emails had gone to a former student who was now the CEO of a vending machine company, and he had been looking to give back to the school. Example B comes...
In that one,
yeah.
Did you feel what it felt like to be a visionary where it's like anything is possible? Like, why are we not just... Of course we've got 2,000 clients. Did you feel... Because you must have felt reptile versus visionary in your life. You've had reptile moments where you're like,
100%.
I hate everyone. I want to kill everyone.
Yeah.
And then you've had moments where it's like, oh,